Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Solana Brown, and I'm thrilled to have a special guest with us, Lynette Yankson. Well, she's doing some amazing work in children's literature. We'll be chatting about her inspiration behind her books, the journey of bringing her stories to life, and how her work leaves a legacy and a lasting impact. So if you're passionate about storytelling and leaving a legacy, you like legacy building, this is the place to be. So stick around.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
Lynette.
you so much, Solana Brown. I'm looking forward to sharing my legacy and my authorship with you, my books with you.
And I'm happy to have you here. So let's get into it. To start, could you tell me about your journey as a writer? Going back to the beginning, what sparked your interest in this journey?
Well, let's see if I can tell you a shorter version of a long story. So I've always writing has always been, I call my strength. So I like to write. And what really sparked my journey to write books about my family was more so, I really think that my family or some members in my family, I'll put it like that, had a story that I call extraordinary. So in my view, in my opinion, every life is a story to tell. Everybody, I think, has a life story. I think that further, some people's story is extraordinary, very different and
Mhm.
unusual. So I decided to start with the book about my maternal grandfather. His book, his life story to me is a lesson for the youth. And I write children's book because children are impressionable, and I want to, hopefully encourage, influence them early in their life.
Yes.
And then I have two beautiful granddaughters that I also wanted to know about. I wanted them to know about their ancestors. So, yeah, that's how I really wanted to share. And the purpose of my stories in general, simply put, is to encourage the youth to persist, never
Mm.
give up, work hard, use your faith, and strive. That's the message I hope they can take away, and they will be successful as well. If your ancestors, my at this point, my grandfather was this was during the early 1900s, Jim Crow era. It was a difficult time for people of color, Black people. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, if he can strive at that time and that history period, which that's another thing I want the youth to learn more about that time in history because they may or may not know about that time frame. So
True.
if he can strive through all the challenges, all the barriers, all the difficulties at that time, then they too can even do even better. So, I feel like, our ancestors, we should stand on their shoulders. So as good as he was great in his life, we can even do as well or better. So I want them to take away that, we
Love it.
can work hard, have faith, can be persistent, and never give up. That's the clear message I want to send to the youth.
Love it. Great. Okay, so legacy. Do you see your books as a part of leaving a legacy?
Yes. So I believe that's another reason that I wrote the book is as I am, happily aging gracefully. I enjoyed my career, and now I'm in,
Absolutely.
reinventing myself as authorship. I wanted to, definitely leave something that I can call a legacy, to so that my family and the society at large can just really, have something that they can learn and grow from. So when we learn from others' experiences, other people's life, that helps us to excel us. I mean, that gives you propel us because
Mhm.
we learn from the other, people from the prior generation. So we should be one step above. At least I tell my son, you supposed to stand on my shoulders. You better do better.
Exactly.
And he does.
Exactly. I love it.
Mm.
So, I guess from your perspective, with this wonderful story that you've written, what should a story have that you think will stick with readers?
Mm.
Besides the life lessons that you have and the perseverance that your story shows and demonstrate, what
Mm.
else do you think should a real good story have?
Uh, and yeah, what I would say that a good story should basically let people know, show people how we overcome barriers, how we overcome challenges. Challenges are part of life. There's no life that I know of that hasn't come through some kind of challenges. So the
Hmm.
story is there to, also show that, yes, he went through struggles. We all go through obstacles and struggles. But why do we go through those struggles? So that we would learn lessons and it will strengthen us and we can continue to move forward. So I think for sure in the book, and I'm not sure. At some point, maybe I can share the book. Is sitting right here
Oh,
in front
I
of
would
me.
love it. I would love you to.
Yeah. The and this book, Papa the Popular Printer, a true story about the Forness Printing Company. Yeah, in this book, my grandfather was a shoe shiner in the 1900s, early 1900s, at a printing company. Now, I find that some of the youth don't even know what a shoe shiner is because they're not as prevalent as they once were. So
I
I
remember seeing them in my day.
yeah, yeah, we remember him, but they're like shoe shiner sometime at the airport. But yeah, so he was actually, at shoe shining at a printing company. And this is in a small town. Uniontown, Alabama is south of just near Selma. Most people know Selma is more popular. Near
Hmm.
Selma, Alabama. And when he was such a great work ethics, he was working hard. Because of his great ethics, the owner decided to take him on as for internship as an
Hmm.
apprentice. So he learned the printing business. He grew up. He opened up his own printing company. He
Mm.
he was a notary public. He sat on the school board. He was a deacon at his church. He actually I call him a man about town. That's the way I call him. Right now, there's a street named after him in the small town where he was born. So,
Love it.
at that time, he was also a model, for people to, see in the community. And he was well known there in
Hmm.
his small town. And yes, he, as a notary public, I understand at that time that was almost like a lawyer. They
Okay.
he knew a lot of people's, business, so to speak.
Okay.
So he was very instrumental in the community, but I understand that my aunt, that is his contemporary, she died about 2 years ago. She said that
Sorry to hear that.
James Fornes, my grandfather, if it was any printing work done, he did all the
He
printing work.
did it.
He did
Wow.
church bulletins, wedding invitations, the newspaper. He even started his own newspaper, the founder of the Negro Leader newspaper. So, not to give away the
Amazing.
whole book, but
Amazing.
so yeah, and I just think he was such a great example. And I was a young girl when I got to know him. I may have been like maybe 10, and at 15, he died when I was 15. So I didn't know him, a long time, but he
Hmm.
was very impressionable, even though at the time I didn't realize when I was around him how, just being in his presence and just I don't know, his behavior, his demeanor, it in itself was a lesson, I was learning from just his life, from his behavior.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love it.
So I hope I answered the question.
Oh, yes. Thanks for sharing that with us. I've learned so much. So, how do you connect with your audience beyond the pages of your book? Do you enjoy meeting with readers or hearing their experiences?
Yeah, I do. I really enjoy meeting with the readers. At this point, my book published in the early part of in February 2024. And since
Congratulations.
then, thank you. That was a journey. And since then, I've done, well, you call visitors, school visits at a few schools. But what I was so happy to do, because one of the reasons I also wrote the book is because I wanted people to know in his hometown, that there was a story about him. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to do that because I haven't been to Uniontown, Alabama in years, and I don't really know anybody there. So
Okay.
it happened, I met a lady who was from that area, and she was a politician that had run for an office. So when I
Oh,
told her about the book, she said it touched her heart. And she in the off the top of her head, she based, oh, well, we can have something at the Marion Arts Center, and I can invite the local historian. I'll invite the mayor, and I'll invite the people. And by the way, my mother-in-law is a caterer. Would you like to have lemonade or iced tea? I mean, she just came up with an event like out of the out of
nice,
her
really
head.
nice.
And I was so, thankful and grateful because who would have ever thought, And so she actually, we had an event around July timeframe in Marion, Alabama, which is the county where my grandfather lived, just we would say maybe 10 miles from his hometown. And though it was well attended, and I enjoyed that because I'm personable. I like people and I like to, be with the environment, with the people that were there. So I think it was a good attendance. We were hoping for more, but the local historian was there, the mayor was there. I think that was one of the better events. And then other than that, some of my friends are kind of, helping me to promote the book. And
Okay.
then I was happy to do on Juneteenth, which is June 19th.
Yes.
On that day, I selected that day to go to Times Square takeover. So in New York City, we did a Times Square takeover. I have a
Oh,
little video
wonderful.
showing it was just a short little a short promo, but it was to, promote Papa's book. So
That's
those are
amazing.
different events so far that I've been able to participate and promote his book. Yep.
Whoa, wow. Congratulations with that.
Yeah, that was kind of fun, actually.
Yes. Okay, so if someone wanted to create something, um, what would you recommend that they do, or how would you recommend they going about publishing their books?
When you say create a book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something
Well,
that deeply resonates with them because your
mm,
story resonates with you.
mhm. I think if you really, if you want to create a book, I for sure you would have an idea of what that would be. And there's 100 ideas. I mean, people have, write about different things. I tend to prefer nonfiction. I like true stories. I actually
Mhm.
like fiction too, but I prefer, I think, nonfiction. But,
Okay.
if a
Makes sense.
person really wants to create a story, be it whatever nonfiction or fiction, definitely have the idea that you can, I would say, visualize in your mind and be able to like just go ahead and start drafting. I think even for me, I'm drafting my next book about my older sister.
Nice.
I'm basically just writing and freely let it go. And then it doesn't matter what it is, like this is your draft. So it doesn't matter if it's at this point, I think it's too long, too wordy, but I know I can go back and then, edit it and get it more concise. And so that's
Mhm.
the process that it takes for, I think most, right? Well, for me, for sure, and some of the other, because I am in the children's book group and we similarly have, the challenge of getting it concise and, kind of working. So you do your draft, of course, and you let
Mhm.
it flow. And then you go back and you're going to do, I'm probably on my third draft, but depends on how how clear you are with your story. And you will continue until you get to the point where this is your best you think you can do. Then you send it to the editor and, and at that point, she would, this book, the editor was very
I-
helpful. and
Yeah,
be going to the illustrator as well. But anyway, I think I'm
that's a
going.
process in itself too, isn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, this book I was had found an illustrator that didn't deliver, and then I found an illustrator that was so much better. So I find that it was, a blessing in disguise, and it worked
Yeah,
out for the best. I had to
they
wait
really did a great
longer.
job. Your
I
illustrations are
think so.
amazing.
Think so. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I know you hear feedback from a lot of readers. Um, have you been personally affected by any of the reviews or any feedback? It just was, so touching and just affected you at a deep level.
Yeah, the person I was alluding to, to me, she was the most affected because when she read the
Okay.
book, she said it touched her heart. And I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yes.
And she even acted upon that. To me, I would think I think the most, that moved me the most.
Very heartfelt. Hmm.
Other than that, I've had other people that gave really good, I would say, critique as well as compliments about the book. And I think that is for people to, of course, take what they can from it and hopefully learn something. That's my whole goal is, for them to learn something that would help them to move forward. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did indeed. And I think you mentioned it earlier, your love for writing. What keeps you coming back
Mhm.
to writing these stories about your family?
Yeah, so writing about my family again is more like because I like nonfiction and I feel they have a story that's extraordinary in my opinion. So,
Mhm.
just, the writing in school, just to say why I come whenever there was essay tests, I don't know if they still do that, but in my school they did. Yes, I'm gonna pass that test. So I always, I always like to write, even my writing career. I was a procurement analyst for 30 years. I was a technical report writer. Now, these
Okay.
reports were writing technical about the company that we visited, which was not as fun because you're just writing statistics and you're writing a business report, but I
Hmm.
still enjoyed it. And I think that because of the writing is what made me stay for the years and enjoy my career. I did. I enjoyed my career. But then I was at a place where I want to write what I want to write,
Of
and,
course,
to be more creative writing. That is, actually more fun. So yeah, yeah, just
it's
really
very
want
fulfilling. That's true. It
it is.
really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do you think stories have so much power to influence everyone, children, adults,
Yeah.
um, and shape our lives?
Mhm. So, as they say in the book school, books change lives, and they
Mhm.
do. And I've been in a book club for probably over 30 years, and the books that we read are typically relationship building and spiritual development. But
Okay.
I can definitely tell you that so many books, one that comes right to mind are the Four Agreements, but there are many books that just definitely changed my
Love
life
that one.
for the best.
Mhm.
I love that book. I
Mhm.
committed the agreements to heart, and it's just so
Amazing.
powerful what you can, a book changes lives. It's like
It
it's,
does. It
yeah,
does,
yeah.
certainly.
So that's I would think that, that would be one of the most important things about a book, to be able to grow from it and learn something and grow from. And sometimes you want to just be entertained, which I mean, that's another reason just to just enjoy it, or something to laugh about, or maybe cry
Yes,
about. I don't know. Yeah.
indeed. Indeed. Okay, so
Mm.
if you can leave our viewers with one thought or piece of advice about storytelling, what is one takeaway that you'll love to share?
Mm. Well, one storytelling takeaway. Well, I think that you want to bring the story to life. I try to bring the story to life, and just really. in my case, want to, share the heart of the person. Right now, I'm again writing books about people. So it would be really to bring that person's back to life through the story and then share their heart. What were they thinking? Why was my grandfather so, in this case, so dedicated to, helping the community? And he could have just stayed at the printing company and didn't try to go do other things to help the
Mhm.
community. But he realized when you see a need, he realized that people needed, have a notary public and different, roles that he could play. So yeah, I think that once you start really thinking about creative writing or something you want to write about, that and as you're writing, you would also see how it would change your
Oh,
life
yes.
as well. So I always want to contribute to society, and I am in an organization for peace, culture, and education.
Okay.
Education to me is the most important um, aspect of life. And yeah, I definitely know education isn't going anywhere.
That's true.
It's not going anywhere.
True.
People are going to be seeking, inquisitive, and they have a brain, so they should be seeking. And we can be self-educated as well as of course, there's always to be educated, but a book is going to change your life, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing.
Oh, indeed. I totally agree. I,
Mm.
I just want to thank you so much, Lynette, for sharing your thoughts and inspiring us with your journey. Your work is so very powerful. It's something that, all people need to hear. Adults and children. It's a wonderful reminder of how stories can touch our lives. So I definitely want everyone to check out Lynette's book or her website, Popular Printer. Can you give us your web address, your website?
Sure. My website is T Lynette Yankson. So should I spell it or
Yes, please.
T Lynette Lynnette Yankson Yankson.com. And
Thank
you
you.
can find
Thank
it
you.
on Amazon as well. So
Okay, great. I
yeah,
thank you all for joining us on Amplify Your Legacy. Let's continue to create, to share, and to leave an impact for future generations.
that's
Thank
right.
you.
Let's do it.